A number of people have said that it's because of the mandatory reporting, and I'm going to be honest with you, it has nothing to do with the mandatory reporting. If that was the case, they would change the laws to make the mandatory reporting not mandatory or criminal. Now, it's a known fact that the birth rate has been declining for some time now. One thing that I've noticed is that when women have children in their teens and early 20s, they're more likely to defer getting a master's or doctorate degree until later on in their life, their 30s or 40s even. Whereas if women do not have kids in their teens and 20s, they're more likely to pursue getting a master's or doctorate early on and then have kids in their 30s and 40s. Now, the reason I bring this up is because of the fact if women were to have kids early on, then the odds of them having more kids over their lifespan is higher versus them waiting until later in life to have kids, then they'll have fewer kids. Reading Project 2025, you will realize that they are trying to get us into the late 1800s or go back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, where there's only a handful of millionaires in that time, which would be the equivalent of today's billionaires, that ruled and controlled everything. At the same time, during that era, women primarily were at home. They were not out in the work industry. They stayed at home, they maintained house, and they maintained kids. They want us to go back to that. And how do you make it possible where we go back to that? You limit the access to education in terms of those non-professional degrees do not have as high of loan limits. Therefore, they're not able to take out as much money. Therefore, the odds of them getting a higher education, like a master's or doctorate, is lower, and they'll more likely stay at home because of it. One thing I will point out though is because of how they had those millionaires like J.D. Rockefeller, Henry Ford, and so forth, y'all knew it came after that, right? The Great Depression. So if history really does repeat itself, we'll see these tech billionaires being the manipulators of people, and then there'll be a Great Depression or recession.